deeper look into Limuru 2 meeting will just show you the weight of this conference, why the state is working behind the scene to stop Uhuru Kenyatta from bursting back into the picture. Ladies and gentlemen, on 19th of April, Jeremiah Kioni faction led by Martha Karua and also a brainchild of Uhuru Kenyatta were supposed to hold a conference in Limuru, and that conference is known as Limuru 3. But then, because of the death of Ogola by then, it was only wise to put it on hold, and it was postponed to 17th May. In this month, if there are top stories that in this channel will be following, is that Limuru 3, William Ruto's trip to America, and really Raila Odinga's political move about the African Union Commission chairperson. So I want us to really look at it, and in this video, I'll try to look at back Limuru 2 and Limuru 1. And a very good sneak peek of those two Limuru conferences will tell you why someone really doesn't want Uhuru Kenyatta to attend, or rather to even convene that meeting. Over the weekend, Kimani Ichung'wah attended a church service in Kiambu, and on the other side of Thika, and he attended in an event that was also that was being led by the DP Rigathi Gachagua, and then was given the microphone. In his 9-minute speech, he finished by asking those conveners of Limuru conference as tribal, and that politics things don't just happen. He chose the platform to speak about that. And so when he spoke in the presence of the deputy president there, his intention was to speak. If you look at that event, there was no any other person that is of Limuru that is in committee preparing for Limuru 2, because most of those leaders that were there were only allied towards Rigathi Gachagua, who also, I believe, is in the same camp with Ichung'wah. But pundits asked a question, is Rigathi part of that Limuru meeting? Or who was Kimani Ichung'wah addressing in that meeting when he made that statement? So, by the way, you can tell us, why do you think Kimani chose to mention about it in that church service? And today, Martha Karua and Jeremiah Kioni led a host of other Jubilee leaders to attend the burial of the mother of a veteran politician, Mungai Kibe, the mother of another veteran politician, I don't think it's Mungai Kibe or someone, and they spoke about the future of that conference and why the state should dare not block that conference from going on. Martha Karua speaking tough that in any part of the country, people do meet and talk. So what is so different if they also decide to hold their conference?
Ndugu zetu wa Kenya tumedanganyika. Na tudanganyika sisi wote, kutoka wahubiri, kutoka wanasiasa, kutoka matajiri, kutoka masikini, zote tumekuwa watu wa kudanganyika. Wanasiasa tukisimama mbele yenu tunasema hakuna ukabila, hakuna ukabila. Ngila akisema msifanye hivi, si ukabila. Ndugu zangu, mimi nataka kuomba nyinyi hivi. Kila sehemu katika taifa hili inajua ina shida gani. Watu wa Nyanza wanajua shida yao. Watu wa Central Province mnajua shida yenu. Watu wa Mombasa mnajua shida yenu. Watu Kalenjin wa Rift Valley mnajua shida yenu. Wa Masai mnajua shida yenu. Nataka kuuliza hivi. Kama kila mmoja wetu ana shida yake. kitu gani kinakufanya uitwe mkabila na uitike mkabila? Nataka kuomba makabila yote ya Kenya kutoka sehemu zote. Mimi nimekaa siasani ya Kenya miaka 45. Miaka 20 katika bunge na miaka 25 nilikuwa katika bunge. Nikiwa nje ya bunge na ninajua. Nataka kuomba ndugu zetu Wakikuyu, mkiwa mnataka kuungana, muungane na msikubali kuitwa wakabila. Wakalenjin mkitaka kuungana, muungane na msikubali kuitwa makabila. Wajaluo mkitaka kuungana, muungane na msitwe makabila. Kwa nini nasema hivyo? Mimi ni mwanasiasa ambaye ameshuhudia mengi, kwa sababu tumenyonywa na tumeangamia kwa sababu ya kugawanywa kikabila. Unganeni. Wajaluo wanataka nini? Ninyi Wakikuyu mnaumia wapi? Ninyi mnaumia wapi? Hakuna shida hata kidogo kama mkiungana.
Na msiogope, ukiogopa kutaja ya mnyonge, hata hiyo yako ndogo unafikiria ni ndogo, itachukuliwa. Mimi naomba tuwe na nguvu kama Wakristo, kama watu, kama wewe ni Mkristo, kuwa Mkristo wa imani. Mimi siwezi kujibu wale nimesikia wakiongea, na jibu mkubwa wao, Bwana Ruto. Mimi nasema kama wewe hutaki tukiwa jamii ya Mount Kenya tukutane, tuonyeshe kipengele ya katiba au sheria ile imetukataza kukutana. Hakuna jamii inakatazwa kukutana. Hivyo wewe mnakutana nyumbani, kusema na ya kenyumba na kemubiriga, na mwendo na kusema ni the whole local area mwasemania. Lakini mkutano yenu iendelee kisheria. Sisi tunaendelea kisheria kwenda kutetea haki zetu, umoja wetu, na umoja na nguvu ya Mount Kenya ni kuchangia umoja na nguvu ya Kenya. Waluhya wakikutana waongee kujipatia nguvu, wanachangia nguvu ya nini? Ya Kenya. Kila jamii ya Kenya ikikutana inaongezea nguvu ya nini? Ya Kenya. Mkutano utaendelea, na wewe huelewi sheria, nimekuadvise kama senior counsel ya kwamba katiba inatusimamia tukutane, na tutaendelea kukutana. Ukitaka kuja kuharibu, wewe kuja, tutapelekana na wewe kisheria, sababu hii nchi ni yetu zote. Ujue tulikuweko hata wakati wa serikali ya KANU ambayo ilikuwa ya giza wakati huo. KANU ya leo ni new KANU. Naongelea KANU ya jana. Tulipambana na bado tuko.
And from what Mother Karua is saying, that already is part of the organizers, and they might have gathered intelligence that there are forces that wants to make sure that it is stopped. And I want to tell you, it can be stopped. Forces can feel uncomfortable with it. So just to make you understand, people are just talking about Limuru to Generation Z maybe, do not understand. Many people do not understand where are we coming from. We are talking about Limuru 3. But let me show you Limuru 1 and Limuru 2. Limuru 1 is a first conference that was held between 13th and 12th March in Limuru, and it was convened by the first president of Republic of Kenya, that is Jomo Kenyatta. And when it was convened to try to stem out rebels within the KANU. So what happened, there was Tom Mboya, who was a friend to a clique of Kikuyu allied politicians and veteran politicians by then, and the blue-eyed boy. And then there was Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who was a friend close to the ex-detainees. So Jaramogi was restless with the Jomo Kenyatta, and what happened is Tom Mboya was used to convene that meeting. And when he announced there was a constitution that they need to give 2 weeks notice, that 2 weeks notice was not given. So when they announced it in Parliament, Jaramogi walked out. And after Jaramogi walked out, the next day, 49 MPs petitioned it not to happen. But Tom Mboya, whom the person he was, they were able to again marshal 99 members to do a counter petition, and that meeting was convened. But a day before the Limuru 1 meeting, Tom Mboya produced a constitution, a party constitution that himself, he had actually drafted. But of course, it's believed that he drafted it with the Kenyatta 1 team. And that constitution was replacing the post of deputy party leader, who was by then Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, and replaced that position with 8 provincial administrators. And when Limuru 2 happened, that was adopted, and that was the start of the fallout between Jaramogi and Kenyatta. But remember, the principal objective was to consolidate Kenyatta power. So if some people tell you that when Tom Mboya was killed in 1969, it was a matter of being used and dumped, there is a lot of it. If you read that story, if you want to get more of that story, you can visit this website. You can just search Limuru Conference. You can just search the Kavirondo. Yes, the Kavirondo. Then, or you can search Limuru Conference 1966. There came Limuru Conference 2. That was Limuru 1. Now Limuru 2. Remember, after that, there was neither Limuru. The other Limuru that was done is in 2012, March. Both were done in March, by the way. So in 2012 March, when Uhuru Kenyatta, the Deputy Prime Minister, was vying with William Ruto for presidency, Limuru 2 was convened by the two factions of Kamatusa and Gema, and they endorsed Uhuru Kenyatta as the kingpin. And even by then, some forces did not feel comfortable. And Maina Njenga, with the then Igembe South Member of Parliament, the current Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi, were planning to convene Limuru 2B meeting, and police blocked it. That was after that Limuru 1. So there have been a lot of the politics of Limuru 1 and Limuru 2. Some young people now may not be able to grasp it. But if you read the history of Kikuyu politics, you will get it in the calendar of Kikuyu politics. So when I saw the likes of Ichung'wa speaking ill about it, I knew that they're just in denial. But then what then is rattling the powers now is the fact that this meeting is believed to be the brainchild of Uhuru Kenyatta. If you look at the figures that are around it, those are people that are around Uhuru Kenyatta who are in maybe working with some political bigwigs in the region, and is facing condemnation. The move has been facing condemnation from a clique of government side who believe that it is not time for, and I say it's a bit of political hypocrisy for someone to come out and say that there is no politics of tribe, while if you look at the state appointments in this country, they are skewed. There's a list that has been, shared online here. And even a survey by different organizations show that state appointments are not balanced. So even as we speak about our politics is not tribal, we're just in denial. But in real sense, when we recently in Kisii, some MPs attended an event and they were dishing letters, employment letters from TSC, allegedly to the constituents. And because the minister comes from that region, very good Kenyans with the trained eyes could easily join the dots. So we are in a political dispensation that, at least, unless we are trying to assume, but of course, it is not true. So the question here is, Why do you think William Ruto would not want to see Uhuru Kenyatta convening such a meeting? I choose also to address the person. The person behind this meeting is Uhuru Kenyatta. It's not, if you look at the budgeting and the financial mobilization that is needed in it, that has to take the hand of Uhuru Kenyatta and a bunch of other bigwigs in the region. And from what I am seeing here, I think the deep state are a feeling, I don't believe there is anything called deep state anyway. I should not mention even about it. So I believe that the political handlers behind the president are seeing anti-Ruto land campaign in Naivasha. There's been the contention about the Ndabibi land. And Ndabibi land case had taken a very dangerous route when those who are litigating on behalf of the residents of that place are actually flying a tribal card on William Ruto. When some people were arrested there, the person that came out even to release them from the prison was Jimmy Wanjigi and other politicians. You've seen Martha Karua, Jeremiah Kioni, and a host of other politicians coming out. So they believe, and in fact, there is a consistent pattern of messaging to remind Kikuyu nation on whether they are maybe harvesting the dividends of their working relationship with Kenya Kwanza. And that is why it's not really working out well. Number two, there is it's a bit of a scare because William Ruto and Kenya Kwanza team have always, and they have weaponized, or let me not use the word weaponized. Let me say they have held grip of the church as the entry to Mount Kenya. And that is why every Sunday and even midweek, the politicians will even leave programs midweek to go and plan interdenominational gatherings. And so any other alternative route that is veering off from the church way is going to give some entry. And that is what many are actually seeing. That's what many are feeling scared of. Remember, this is a meeting that will attract all. The truth of the matter here is not that things are so good in Mount Kenya. Yes, the coffee, there's some outcry. The current fight on illicit brew has taken some very measures that you cannot even see the end game. And that has also been a problem. I also see that this could be seen as a re-entry of Azimio and Raila Odinga back in the mountain. What next after that? What next after that? There would be a political re-entry. Now, this is happening at a time when, like in the last one, it was Uhuru Kenyatta to be endorsed. How about if it also camouflages into an endorsement to dislodge William Ruto from the mountain? You never know what that campaign can take, given that even some grassroots elections are supposed to be held there. So many politicians are in suspense of the outcome of that conference. And that is why why I believe they are planned to block Uhuru Kenyatta from Limuru.